I heard this phrase, and I'm totally hijacking it from Mockingbird, but redemption is better than perfection. I have that written on my wall in my therapy office, and it's interesting to hear what people have to say about that. Because sometimes we just want to say, I'd rather be perfect than have to have somebody to redeem me.
We'd all rather save ourselves than admit that we need
Mhm.
saving.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I have been a perfectionist my whole life. And I've always believed that if I was just perfect enough, then I'm lovable. If I'm just perfect enough, then I'm finally everything I've ever wanted to be. But here's the deal. You're just not. None of us are really enough. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's those
loved.
if-then statements that get us, right? If I can do this, then this will be. But it's really a because of Christ, therefore, I'm free.
Can we talk about how good I look right now, Katie?
We already did. Do we really have to rehash?
No, I mean, for me, yes. I just want to hear.
Yes.
I want to hear it again.
Yes, Raleigh. I told you, I said, you look so pretty today. And I'm seeing 6 clients. I don't look very pretty today. And Raleigh looks like he's AI generated.
I look like I'm AI generated, and no one will ever know this. I have a fancy camera. I have lighting. And I spent all this time on the visual component of a podcast that's not visual.
But you put videos out.
I do.
Don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like short ones. Yeah, we should probably start. Welcome to the Mercy Cast, where we are learning the art of compassion through the adversity of life. I am your host, Raleigh Sadler, and today I am joined by my friend, Katie Koplin. Katie is an author and a counselor and just an overall muck raiser. Katie, thank you for coming.
I think muck raiser is the best intro I've ever received.
When you and I are together, especially with Gretchen,
we did not get in trouble this time.
No.
We're growing.
We were just at a conference in San Diego, the 15-17 Here We Still Stand conference, a conference that we go to every year that we love. And every time we get together, there's just, I don't know, it's like brother and sister awkwardness. Yeah. A lot of jokes are made.
Dad jokes.
Oh, so many dad jokes. And your daughter's dad jokes are some of the best I've ever heard.
I mean, they're kind of like dirty dad jokes.
They're kind of like the dad you don't really want to be around.
But it's like, who can we bring dad with to this event?
Whose eyes are on dad?
Yeah. Who's watching dad? Yeah. And I will say, if this tells something about my family dynamic, I love my father-in-law, but those jokes my daughter did learn from her grandpa.
I think he's fun at parties. He's got to be.
He is.
But he's got that old man right, that right that you get.
He does.
To say
and he doesn't
lie.
He doesn't cross a line. So it's good.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun hanging out with you all. And what I've noticed, even the people that we don't know that sit at our table for the banquet part of the conference, because there's this wonderful banquet part where everyone eats a great meal. It's very formal. Yep. I was wearing a jacket. I was looking good. We were all looking good. We were all feeling good. It was great. And
not as good as the AI generated Raleigh today.
Not as good as the AI generated Raleigh. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to stare at myself for a minute. That was nice. Okay.
But I'm going to work on some therapy notes.
Yeah. Do I need to start paying you by the hour at this point? Because I shouldn't keep lapsing into therapy. But, but no, we end up talking to our table and then finding out that even though we didn't know them before, the people at our table are super beautiful and random people. And
they are. And actually that dinner, now that you say that, is a place where we meet people.
Every time, every year.
Which is great because you'd think we know a lot of people at these conferences, right? So we could all just congregate at tables that we know people, but that isn't how it's happened.
And we end up having these really vulnerable conversations. I feel like your powers and my powers combined, people are like, one time when I was 7, it was just like.
And we had Gretchen's son with too. So he is like a 17 he is, right?
Oh my
Old
gosh.
soul. Like he's more like 71 sometimes in the stuff that comes out of his mouth than 17.
He is one of those guys that He's 17, but he's like the Dalai Lama. He just
Hmm.
looks at you. He can see into your eyes. He knows your fears. He knows what you're carrying. He knows the
Yeah.
luggage of life is just too heavy today. And he looks at you and he says, "Are you okay? You look
Yeah.
like you're not okay."
Yeah.
And he's just walking around changing people's lives. And I can't handle that. Like, that's too
Hmm.
nice. Like,
Way
you're
too well.
17. You should
And
be like breaking into cars or something.
he doesn't even expect details about it. When I was
No.
17, I'm 40. I would like all the details, please. That's
Oh,
why I became a therapist. Like, please spill the tea.
oh,
Please.
exactly. You want a way to professionally gossip. I know. It's like, why did you go into therapy? Well, I just wanted
Yeah.
the tea. It's all
Yep.
I
I
wanted.
just
I
and it
wanted to
has
know what was
provided.
going on in my community, and I am a concerned
Yeah.
citizen.
And now I know.
I know everything.
Well, and
I
what's
remember
odd is I don't even work in the town that I live in. So like,
probably good.
yeah, it's actually really nice. The town I work in is huge compared to the town I live in. I don't even live in a town. I live outside of a town and it's like 300 people on the sign. The town I work in is like 5,000 people. That's like some churches, but it's big. There's a Walmart in Fergus Falls. So it's a pretty big deal.
And Fergus Falls is also home to a Lutheran Brethren seminary. Is this correct?
It is. That is correct.
What you may not know about Katie Koplin is that her husband will take me ice fishing. This is going to happen in January when
Well,
I show up in
you
Fergus Falls.
have to come to Minnesota to take your ice fishing.
It sounds like such a bad decision, and I think it is, but I
Time
can't
with
wait to
Dallas
make
and
it.
I is never a bad decision.
No, and he like, when I first met him, he was just like, in like the most manly way possible, he was like, "I'll take you ice fishing." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Cool. Like, I'm into it. Let's
sweet.
go. I have gray in my
Mhm.
beard. I've seen things. Let's go
You can
ice
handle
fishing."
it. You can
Yes.
handle it.
It's but you know what? Another thing about you guys that I think is fantastic is not only did he say, "Let's go ice fishing," but he said other things that
Mhm.
just make him basically a superhero in my eyes. He said to you, "Yes, let's move into my childhood church that has a graveyard, and let's make our
Uh,
home there amongst the dead."
yes. Actually, I said, please, please let me do this. And he said, this is nuts. And I said, please, please, please. I want to live 10 feet from a cemetery. It's my childhood dream.
How haunted is your house? Tell me.
Mm, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm sure it is, right? We can go down that rabbit hole. But the comforting part is we're related to everybody that could possibly be haunting it.
So at this point, it's just a boundaries issue. It's like, all right, Auntie, go
Hmm.
back to sleep.
Hmm.
Leave me
Grandma.
alone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's 3 in the morning, Grandma. I know, but
It's,
you gotta go back.
I'm sure it looks ridiculous when we're running our shower right now because we put in a instant hot water heater that's run by electricity and it's on the same circuit as the lights upstairs in the main sanctuary. So whenever anyone is taking a shower, that hot water heater is pulling so much water that the lights upstairs are just a flickering like the whole time if we don't shut them off. So I pulled up to the house and it looks like there's either a raid going on in there or some sort of paranormal activity. But it's just a shower. It's
You need
just a
to make
shower.
that thing an Airbnb and not tell anyone.
And not telling anyone about that part of it.
Yes. Yes, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. We would have a lot of early checkouts.
But I mean, they've paid, right? At that point,
Yeah, I suppose.
what's it like living in your husband's childhood church, right?
Yeah.
What's it like living there in a church
I
building?
think I think it's amazing. It's decommissioned, right? Sometimes I'm hesitant to talk to people about this because it was at once a sacred space.
And so you say it was a decommissioned religious space, and
Yeah.
now you're
Yeah.
living in it. It's a dwelling. That's a little different,
Hmm. Hmm. So churches are a sacred space, but all of life has some element of sacredness to it
right?
because God created us. And then there's a piece of it that there's so much history there. And like you said, it's the church my husband grew up going to. It's the church that his great great grandpa was the foreman of, like to rebuild it after it burnt down the first time. His family is buried in the cemetery, which is 10 feet away from what will be our master bathroom and our current library. There's also a piece that is very special to me that we get to preserve something of the legacy of faith that church represents.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes
what are you
sense.
reading, Raleigh? You weren't even listening to me.
I was listening to you. You were talking about all of your things, and they were great. I'm being a good podcast host right now. I'm being a good podcast host. Just trying to prepare. You were talking
It's
about living in a
okay.
sacred. See, this is what you need to hear, guys. Sometimes the podcast host isn't on their game, and then they edit out all that crap to make it look like they're on their game.
Yep.
But I am also interviewing someone who edits nothing, and so I feel like you and Christian are just like, here we are. Like,
I mean, she will edit out when I get a little cussy. But that's primarily to keep our clean rating, and so her mom doesn't get upset.
And this is the kind of podcasting we do because, if we get a little cussy, we want to make sure that moms everywhere still approve.
Can listen with their kids in the car.
We want soft ears. I have a rule. I have like the PG-13 rule. If someone drops something, I can let one go.
Yeah. Because there is something to authenticity, right? And the flow of the conversation.
But if they're dropping the big boy words, like the $5 ones, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Or
you still have to keep up I don't know what word I'm looking for.
But before I was reading my phone, didn't you call me a screenager was that you?
I did.
You called me a screenager at the banquet because I kept looking at my phone. I never heard that. I was like,
I'm a mom and a therapist. It's very hard for me to
Riley's being a screenager right now. I'm like,
because I think somebody was trying to talk to you, and I didn't want them to think you were just flat out ghosting them.
And it's funny. It's been a 2-week period in my life where that has been focusing hasn't been so great recently.
Yeah.
Been a lot of spending.
And that's understandable, right? That's understandable. And we all go through times where we are screenagers. Like anybody who says they're not lies.
Well, I'm over here thinking I'm going to take some supplements. I'm
gonna order that brain dust off of Instagram right now.
Yeah, watching that movie with Bradley Cooper in it. Limitless.
Not give me that type of brain dust. It's a supplement with magnesium.
Give me that. That's the whole brain. Because I feel like right now, this week I've used about 30% of it. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I don't even know how the brain works.
We don't use a lot of percentage of our brain. So 30 is probably actually a high number.
Do we have lizard brains?
I have no idea what that means. I
don't know what it means either. I'm probably going to cut that out because it might mean something really weird. But anyway, you were telling me about your... We don't... Yeah, this is... Guys, you're just getting a conversation with Katie and I. This is how we talk. You were saying you're living in your home.
Yep.
You're enjoying...
That was a church.
That was a church. You're enjoying the sanctity of it. What has it been like to see the transformation of it going from one type of sacred space to another? Because as you described it, you made it sound as if it was a liminal space. This idea of where, the earth meets the heavens. People would say there's certain places in the world that are liminal spaces.
Like the Celtics, right? And their concept of thin spaces.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's biblical, but I would say from my Lutheran perspective, the communion rail, like when we take communion, could definitely be designated as one of those thin places. And then, but it is a tension that both my husband and I live in of how to honor this building and make it into a functional home for us without being weird about it.
Yeah, don't get weird.
what do you do with the altar? That's what we're pondering right now.
Yeah, because there's something beautiful about having the altar, and I love what you said about it
Hmm.
being like a liminal space, because that's what I would say about pilgrimage. You've had so many people seeking Jesus for thousands of years in one place, walking the same paths, in
Hmm.
some cases, literally the same dirt paths for thousands of
Hmm.
years. And you know this by the buildings you walk by that were erected for the
Hmm.
pilgrims of those days, and you walk by
Yeah.
ruins and such.
I would have never made that connection, Raleigh, but 100%, that's what we think about so often when we are like actually contemplating this project that we're undertaking. The people who came before us, their stories and their faith. And that's something like I love reading Wendell Berry books. And sometimes I feel like I'm living in Wendell Berry land getting to do this.
We talked about, is your house haunted, right? But what I love
Yeah.
about this is maybe it's less about the paranormal and more about you're
Hmm.
surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, of people who have come before
That's the
you,
phrase I was looking for. Yeah.
whose story is ultimately in memoriam in your home. And so as you
Hmm.
walk and you see that communion rail, you're reminded this is a sacred place. God
Hmm.
has been worshiped here for years. And now,
Hmm.
as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. You know, this is something
Hmm.
that we can do together. And this communion rail, in a sense, is a visual reminder of ultimately, I mean, it reminds us of our baptism, right? It reminds us of whose we
Yeah.
are.
The promises of God,
Yeah.
right? And even the cemetery, like people, that's the most frequent flyer question we get. Well, isn't it weird to live by a cemetery? And I'm like, no, I actually love it.
Well,
It is such a good reminder of that great cloud of witnesses. It's such a great reminder that we are limited.
and your home is really like an Ebenezer. It's like a stone of remembrance of God's faithfulness. And
Yeah, a
I
hundred
think
percent it is.
I think we need that. I think all of us,
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to forget that we're going to be okay, that everything's going to be
Mm-hmm.
all right, because there's a God who started something in our lives and he's going to finish
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy when the defecation meets the ventilation that we just get to this point of like, yeah, like what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
we get all antsy and anxious. It's
Yeah.
scary, but when we look at that communion rail, when we look at the headstones, it's easier. And
Mm-hmm.
I think every one of us, I do it. I have things in my home that it's not like a shrine. I don't have like a shrine in my closet to Danny DeVito or anything. I
I mean, that's okay if you do.
I don't. Surrounded by Jersey Mike's sandwiches, it's just they're really stale, but, it's nice.
Yeah, it's gonna
Not that I
start
don't.
to, yeah.
But no, it's like we have to sometimes have these stones of remembrance in our lives that just kinda
Hmm.
anchor us. Though Jesus is the cornerstone, right? Like, he is the
Yeah.
rock. He is
Yeah.
but, like, I
But we
like
are physical beings. So those physical reminders are good for us. The Old Testament, they did that, right? They set up these piles of rocks and said, okay, remember, everybody, remember what happened here. Remember how God was faithful to us in this place.
when I lived in New York City, they did something like that too. It was just bags of trash, and they would just leave them
Oh.
outside, and they would be about 7 foot tall. And during the winter, it would just be covered in snow and not move for 3 months until the thaw came, and then the streets would smell of garbage and Italian food.
I mean, I feel like that's more of like a remembrance of our depravity, right? These piles of garbage.
And maybe there's something there too, right? So we have
Yeah.
things in our lives that remind us of God's faithfulness, while there are also things in our lives that they could be active things in our lives or things that we have around us that remind us of our depravity. Like your friend who has all those
Hmm.
old school tattoos that they're like, this was another life ago. And then when they look at
Hmm.
it, they're like, I remember the man I was. I remember the woman I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And sometimes they leave them and they don't get them taken off because they
Yeah.
want to remember what they were capable of. And also, in doing that, they remember the grace of God. I think
Mhm.
it is important that we have reminders of where we've come from and who we've
Yeah.
come to. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
For sure. And when I think this is where my brain is going right now, when I think about that in the context of a church or this church building, I don't. I want to honor the people, remember the people who Christ served there, but I don't want to act like there was no flaws, right? Like church, they wouldn't have needed church. And we knew these people, and my husband especially knew all of these people. He grew up with it. Well, not all of them, because some of them were gone before he was there. But he knew this community of believers to honor the work of Christ instead of the hands and works of men. But there's still that piece of God was working through them and they were doing things. So it's that tension that we live in.
How many times have you heard someone who was not a Christian, did not profess to be a believer, and they say something to the effect of, if I walked into that church, it would catch
Oh,
on fire?
that's not actually what happens because I walk in every week, most weeks, and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, we walk into church and we're dumpster fires. It's like
Yeah.
nothing else
And they're
catches on
like,
fire.
maybe come up here.
Come
Yeah.
here. The dumpster
Yeah.
fire is warm. Come to us. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that's the beauty because it's where beauty and pain meet. It's where
Yes.
wholeness and
I mean, that's a
brokenness come
description of a
together.
cemetery because we know where these people are now. Their troubles are gone. Their pain is gone, but we're still left with the pain of them not being there. And an
Yeah.
empty church, there's pain there. But there's also beauty in knowing that that church isn't the church, the church universal.
Every now and then I run across somebody who has really cool tats. There's always this dude who will have a tattoo of love and pain, or something like that
Mhm.
on his fist.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'd like to get
Uh-huh.
that, but I kind of look like an accountant. So I don't know how many accountants have love and pain tattooed on their knuckles. It's one of those things where I don't want to say dichotomy, but it's maybe the dichotomy. Like you've got,
I think sometimes we put it into a dichotomy, right? Of either or.
yeah, but it's
Um,
it's a both and. Like it's
mhm,
beautiful and it's terrible. There's pain. We as
mhm.
Christians make mistakes. I think it's important at this point because I feel like the conversation is naturally going there that we talk about the simul.
Oh, yeah, that's like my favorite thing. Even in thinking about this church, in the therapy office, my job right now is to help people grow. But then I come from this worldview where I know that everyone has sin. Everyone has sin nature. So we're not growing to the point of perfection. That word end, using that word end instead of but is it's my favorite thing. It is
Well,
one of my favorite things.
Katie, for our listeners who don't know what we're talking about at this moment, could you describe the simul and explain what
Okay.
it is and why it's important for us?
Yeah. So simultaneously saint and sinner. That's what we are as Christians. It doesn't mean we have a 15% saint one day and what's the math on that? If we're 15% saint, 85, 75%? I don't know. Some other number, sinner.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a 50-50. We are saint and sinner all the time. It's kind of like this is probably a really bad metaphor, but on Inside Out, when they start touching the memories, there's sadness and joy in those memories. There's saint and sinner in each of us. It's not a percentage. I guess if it was to make it more, it would turn green instead of having pieces, but there's no good metaphor for it because it doesn't work out in mathematics. It doesn't work out in mixing colors. It just is.
I love that. It's both at the same time. And
Mhm,
it comes from the Latin simul justus et peccator. And
mhm.
it's
Oh, look at
this,
you,
I
fancy.
know I went to seminary. I learned words. I paid a lot of money. It's this idea of, like you said, like you're simultaneously a saint and a sinner. And so
Mhm,
sometimes we focus on doing. Like if I just do more, I'll look
mhm,
the part, I'll be the part. Pay to play the game.
mhm,
To be the man, you got to beat the man. But
mhm,
as that's not the gospel. The gospel is it's done for you.
mhm,
Christ for you, the hope of glory, as we see in
mhm.
Colossians. And I need that because on my best day, I'm a little wonky. And that's okay. We all got that wonky wheel, but when we realize the whole frame's kind of bent,
Yeah.
it's not just the wheel on the
I
shopping cart. The whole thing is
no,
a
it's
little,
like you need a whole alignment
yeah.
of all four of them. I heard this phrase and I'm totally hijacking it from Mockingbird, but redemption is better than perfection. I have that written on my wall in my therapy office. And it's interesting to hear what people have to say about that because sometimes we just want to say, I'd rather be perfect than have to have somebody to redeem me.
We'd all rather save ourselves than admit that we need
Mhm.
saving.
Mhm.
And I know that, like, I mean, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I have been a perfectionist my whole life. And I've always believed that if I was just perfect
Mhm.
enough, then I'm lovable. If I'm just perfect
Mhm.
enough, then I'm finally everything I've ever wanted to be. But here's the deal, you're just not.
Mhm.
None of us are
Mhm.
really enough. And that's
Mhm.
okay
Yeah,
because
it's
we're
those if
loved.
then statements that get us, right? If I can do this, then this will be. But it's really a because, therefore, because of Christ, therefore, I'm free.
So you literally just quoted a passage from Garrett Furdy that changed my life.
That's probably where my brain is it from?
Justification, a matter of death and life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not okay. I don't know if I've read that one.
Well, he
And I'm
probably said it
trying to
multiple
see if I have it.
times,
Yeah. Yes.
but that passage is what changed my life in seminary. I
Hmm.
was writing a paper on
Hmm.
justification, and he basically, because we've talked about all these dichotomies, right? We've talked about beauty and pain. We've talked about saint and sinner. And I think another dichotomy that's worth talking about, two things that are both 100%, is law and gospel. If then statements, that is law. Love the
100%
Lord
law.
your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
law. A lot of churches are like, these are our core values. You're telling your
Hmm.
people to do some stuff, and
Yeah.
that's
And
good.
when it's never going to be enough, then if that's what you're hinging your salvation on or even your well being, Lordy, it's never going to be enough.
And hear us. We are all about loving your neighbor. We're all about loving Jesus.
Yes.
Big fans. But you can't do it from an empty well. You got to do it
No.
from the love of Him that flows through
Hmm.
you. When you know that
Hmm.
you are loved, then you're free to love God and love others, albeit
Yeah.
imperfectly. It's okay. You can limp
Imperfectly
across the finish line.
and in the way God created you and shaped you and molded you to serve people instead of some idea that somebody gave you of how you're supposed to serve your neighbor.
Yeah, you love your neighbor as a redeemed person, not a perfect person, because the perfect
Hmm.
person is the one who loves you and frees you to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
At what point do we pass around the offering plate?
I think we're not that far into this. Well, it's about that time. I have a great story. I mean, you can cut this out if you want, but this is so
No, no,
like
tell me.
parenting, hilarious, like pinnacle parenting story. I wasn't able to be in church because my grandma was in the hospital. So I was waiting to hear if I should go down and, if this was it or what was going on. But my husband took all the kids, and it was the first time my son's girlfriend had come to church with us. This was like technically their first date. So my 16-year-old son sees the offering plate coming around. That kid's never put offering in, not once. But his girlfriend's sitting next to him, and he is fumbling in his pocket through these dollar bills. And my husband said he leans over to his girlfriend and says, "It's okay, Dad, and I got this. You don't have to put anything in there."
Mm.
Like adorable. But I also think it shows like that's something he thought he should be doing. I don't know the theology of it, but it's sweet. And also you go, "Oh Lordy, what are you doing? Like, that's not you. What are you doing?" I'm so glad that you wanted to show off for your girlfriend. And in all these things where I watch my kids, I can see that saint and sinner dynamic. And that's when you go in as a parent and you go, "Oh man, thank goodness there is the law and that there is the gospel."
Well, you're right, because the law shows a thing for what it is. It ultimately even
Hmm.
exposes our intentions. We see the law on full display in the Sermon on the Mount, where he says, "You've heard it said to not commit adultery. But I say, anyone
Hmm.
who looks upon a woman in lust has already committed adultery in her heart. You've
Hmm.
heard it said not to commit murder. But if you say, Raka, or I hate you, you've committed
Mhm.
murder in your heart. He comes down to those inner motivations. And I think that's what the law does. It shows you for what you are. And it's like one of those mirrors in a changing room at Walmart,
Mhm.
not the good mirror, but the
Oh,
mirror that
no. No,
shows
no, no.
everything. And it's just like, ugh. Or I see people who do mirror selfies. Man, I ain't trying to do no kind of mirror selfie because when you take it, it's just like, oh, my camera on my phone is too good. I need to
Yeah.
go get like a flip
Yeah.
phone if I'm going to take mirror selfies.
The law shows how I wanna use the word ridiculous because I think sometimes we get so down on ourselves and think there needs to be an emotional response to our sin, and I don't know that that's true. Like, will you have regret? Will you have sadness because of your sin? Yes. If you do not experience it to a certain degree, it doesn't mean you're not forgiven. God gave us our emotions. It's part of the information we receive, but our forgiveness isn't dependent on it.
Katie, I think you raise a good point because there's a lot of people who compare their stories with others because others may be
Mm,
more emotional. They may have cried. I didn't grow up
mhm,
necessarily as a crier. And so I would see some people, they would repent and it would be this like just waterworks. And it was a beautiful thing.
mhm,
And for me, I was just kind of like, God, I'm sorry. And something
mhm.
felt different. Maybe, you know, but
Maybe, or
it was
maybe
like
it didn't
what
feel
came
different.
after. It was what came after where I was like, oh, okay, things are cooking. Certain things bother me now
Mhm,
that didn't bother me before. That's interesting.
mhm,
But like for a lot of us out there who are comparing ourselves with other people, how is this comforting? Because it sounds like you're saying that you can be convicted of your sin without becoming distraught emotionally in that
mhm.
moment.
I think if we are looking to Christ, we're not gonna become distraught because we know Christ has got us. We know it's covered. That doesn't mean we go out and say, "Yay, I'm gonna do that again," because we can see the impact it has on our neighbor. And because of the love that Christ has for us, that changes how we view the world.
Well,
So,
yeah,
does that make sense?
I know
Like,
it does.
okay,
And it's like
I
the
could just be
gospel.
spewing heresy here, Raleigh.
You might be
This is
actually.
this is just like my ponderings of late.
I like the idea of the vertical. Christ has done this for us, and that frees us to
Mhm,
focus on the horizontal as we realize, oh, I'm saved. Christ died for sinners. I'm a sinner.
mhm,
Like he's changing my life. That frees me in an interesting way to have gratitude of thank you, God, for doing this
mm,
and loving him, but also loving God as I love my neighbor. And I don't think we talk about that.
mhm.
Our vertical response, and sometimes we don't talk about the social aspect of it, is you can love your neighbor and love God literally at the same time.
Yes,
It's wild.
and God loves you. So that's really the kicker there.
Merry Christmas. It's the whole point.
Yeah, yeah. He did come and become a baby. Like, that's pretty amazing.
And we like to
So
talk about baby Jesus, but
mhm.
that is the greatest miracle of all time, not just the virgin birth, but the fact that God becomes man,
God took on flesh. Like,
right?
holy smokes.
To save humans, to save those who
His
were trapped
people.
in sinful flesh.
We could start singing Christmas hymns now.
I got the first Noel cooking with Christmas in Hollis also playing in
What
my
is
head.
your favorite Christmas hymn or carol?
You know, no one knows this. We've never talked about this,
Okay.
but when I was a little kid, I was in choir because I had the voice of an angel. I hadn't hit puberty yet, so that thing was, it
Yeah, you can
was,
hit them high notes.
oh, it
If
was
you
so
say
good.
low how to rose, Raleigh, I'm gonna
If I said what?
low how to rose. Is that's not your favorite one, is it?
No, it was We Three
Okay.
Kings.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd be like, "We three kings of Orient are," it was like super high pitched, and
nice.
now I have a masculine, graspy voice. Yes, you're
So you
welcome.
can't,
Nah,
you
it's
don't get
like,
asked to be in the choir anymore for
nah,
that
but
one.
but I know that bearing gifts we traverse afar, and field and fountain, moor and mountain, following
Mhm.
yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of
You
light.
got it.
Yeah. So
You
it's
got
like
it.
that is stuck there. There's no exercising that out of my brain. it is there. I mean, I could call a priest, but I don't think it'll help. It's going to be there forever.
To get it out.
Yeah. Rid me of this infestation that is in my brain of this song. But it's a beautiful song. And there's probably some questionable aspects to the song that aren't exactly biblical, but
it's a familiar one for us, though.
But it reminds us of the fact that even the powerful magi came to celebrate the king, the true king. And I think that's what we're reminded, that Christ comes clothed in vulnerability. He comes as vulnerability personified to save those of us who are vulnerable, those of us who are saint and sinner, those of us who need both law and gospel, those of us who experience pain and beauty. All of these dichotomies, Christ came as a whole person and took them both. Though he was the Son of God, he learned obedience through suffering. And he did that all for us. He became our righteousness and took our sin. And I think we can rest in that no matter what our week is like this week, no matter what we're experiencing,
we can rest in that.
Yeah,
for
of course.
sure and for certain.
Yes, we can absolutely rest in the fact that because he did it for us, we are okay. We are so worried about our response to the gospel when the real truth is that the gospel is what saves you. It's not about how strong your response is. It's about the strength of the gospel.
And I know that's true, but sometimes that's still scary to say. Because as a parent, I do not want my children to end up as axe murderers.
Well, we know Gretchen's child won't.
Well, that's the thing, Raleigh. If either of our kids are going to end up in jail, I don't think it's going to be Gretchen's kids. She homeschooled them.
They're going to be fine. They're going to be the ones that are paying the bail of your children.
Maybe. I mean, they did go to public school, so. I'm just kidding about the homeschool versus public school thing, guys.
We're definitely not getting into that.
No.
I love all God's schools. I think that's where our faith is rooted, in the fact that there was no way we could do this on our own, and Christ did it for us. And that frees us. And that's why
Aren't you going to ask me my favorite Christmas song?
That's why we can walk forward. You know what? Since I'm feeling generous, Katie, what is your favorite Christmas song?
I have two favorites.
Tell me.
So, Lo How a Rose.
What is this song?
So it's Lo How a Rose There Blooming, from tender stem has sprung, of Jesse's lineage. And I can't remember the rest of it, but it's theologically rich. And I got to sing it as a solo in high school. Since then, I have loved it. Same vibe as We Three Kings. That's why I was like, Raleigh, if you say it's Lo How a Rose and it's because you got to sing it in choir, then
did we just become best friends? Yeah.
And my other one is Rain for Roots, Mary Consoles Eve. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
I pulled up the lyric. It says, Eve, my sister, the one who took the fall. Eve, my sister, mother of us all. Lift up your head. Don't hide your blushing face. The promised one is finally on his way.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it goes, almost, not yet, already. It's a good one. You should listen to it. And it's kind of like folksy, and I really like that.
It's funny, like they haven't even started playing Mariah Carey at this point. I think Christmas is something that we don't have to wait till December to celebrate.
No. Michael Bublé hasn't come out of his cave, but we still get to remember. And it's not just Christmas, right? Like, it's his life, his death, and his resurrection.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of how, when I describe the gospel to someone, I say, Jesus lived for you, he died for you, and he rose for you. And just to be reminded of that, not only did his active righteousness count for you, but his passive obedience counts for you. You know, that's credited to your account. And you didn't do anything to earn that. There's nothing we can do.
It never runs out. Like,
and so it's like in those moments where it feels like just July. It's hot, it's nasty, it's humid, it's just terrible. We can be reminded that even in those dark moments where life just hurts,
Mhm.
that Christmas still counts, that what began there and ended at a cross actually didn't end at a cross, and Christ is
Mhm.
there for you, praying for you at the right hand of the Father. He has vindicated you, even though you are a saint and sinner. You know, that's a beautiful
Well,
thing.
and it even started way before Christmas, right? Like, God was at work in the Old Testament, and he was doing all the things
Yeah, even
from creation, right? He created us. He gives us the promise at the fall.
and I think this all comes back to your backyard, the one with all the
Yes,
dead people in it,
it does. It's a big old circle.
because we see in the old covenant there is a lot of death, there's a lot of destruction, but there's a redemptive
Mhm.
line. There's one who's coming, who's going to change the world. And though we see the death, we see the destruction, though you can look at your home and say, I can see the joy that's in the house,
Mhm.
I can see the pain that's in the yard,
Mhm.
but that's the beauty. We
Mhm.
as Christians can walk forward holding in one hand our pain, whatever we're carrying, and holding hope in
Mhm.
the other, knowing
Mhm.
that whatever we're experiencing, it's not the last page for us.
Mhm.
Whatever you've done, whatever's been done to you, you are loved. And I'm not making light of your suffering as you're listening. I'm not making
Mhm.
light of it. I'm saying no matter how bad it is, you are loved because of another. No matter
Mhm.
what you've done or what's been done, you are loved, and your healing comes from another.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
think,
I think sometimes as theologians, we forget that piece, like to acknowledge the pain that is there and that people are living in this tension of end, like the joy that Christ gives us and the pain of today.
yeah, absolutely. And I think we can live in that dichotomy.
Mhm.
We can embrace
Mhm.
both. When I was growing up as a Christian, I had to pretend and smile away, laugh to keep from crying,
Mhm.
suffer in silence. When no, no, I can embrace it, and I can be that awkward person in church when someone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Let me tell you.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
asked. You
So here
asked."
it comes.
I saved that only
Yeah.
for the most special. So,
Oh,
yes. Or the person who's kind of
good.
annoyed me a little bit, I'm like, "Oh, I got something for
You
you.
wanna I got something to lay on you right now.
I'm gonna ruin your day, sir. You asked. Your day is ruined." But Katie, like, as we land the plane,
Yes.
how would you like to encourage us in these final moments?
We're all sinners and we all need Jesus.
Mm,
And I say that because as independent as I want to be, I still need a community around me
mm,
that understands the love of Christ. And does everybody have that right now? No, I know they do not. And just living in that tension of, yes, everybody is a sinner and Christ has died for all of that. Christ has redeemed all of that. He is redeeming all of that and he will redeem all of that. There's so much hope in there that I don't think someone who's much more poetic than I, much smarter than I could probably explain it. I just know it when I see it.
are you asking me to explain it?
Yes. Because you're so much smarter
Yeah.
and so much more articulate.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess just highlighting that tension and saying that because as a therapist now, sometimes I catch myself on how I used to say things, right? And it's probably really annoying to people. I know it's annoying to my children. They say, quit therapizing me. But something that has stayed consistent is holding space for the redemption, right? And you can't have redemption without sin.
That's right. And so it's
Did I land
embracing
the plane?
both.
Yeah. It's not, I don't want to say I'm embracing sin because then people are really going to come after me. It's acknowledging it and calling it what it is,
Owning.
owning it. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, owning both.
Hmm.
This is reality. I'm a sinner, but it's also reality that Christ came to die for sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Katie, thank you for this. This has been really encouraging. Thanks for being my friend, and thanks for being willing to come on and talk about just random stuff with me.